And the hunt is on. You get. Oop, you guys think you guys lost your sound right there? Oh, well, then I messed that one up. We'll have to reset that one. The hunt is on. It's time for the list to be broken down. As you move into the meta and what we have to bring, it's time for the hunt to be found. Now, we're going to go over some list archetypes today, and these lists are not for you to necessarily copy, but for you to actually be inspired. Now, these lists are going to have variations, substitutes that are going to suit you and your meta more likely. And if that be the case, even better. And we can talk about that. So this is live. Keep that in mind. And of course, you have to give a shout out to our sponsors, the Baron of Dice. They make high quality custom dice. If you enjoy our content and want to show some support, check out the custom dice in the description. 5% off because nobody likes taxes. Now, let's get into the first list. You know, I like to name them. You know, I like to name the list and the archetypes because it's creative, it's fun. So let's do it. What's up, everybody? I hear you. I think I fat fingered the thumb when I moved the mic right when I started. So I apologize. Hopefully we can edit that part out. So let's go into what I'm currently. Oops, I think I jumped ahead one. Did I jump ahead one, Gits? I think I jumped ahead one. I did. There we go. We're going to talk about the very first list I want to talk about is called Pig Pin Pressure. Now, the reason I actually want to talk about this list is a few reasons. It's the most tried and true archetype style. It has pigs, it has rigs, it has snaggers, it has all the stuff you kind of want to bring all in all in your hunt list. And it's pretty much mono hunt all in all. So this archetype is what I think fits a lot if you're playing on GW terrain. We are going to have archetypes for in case you don't play on GW terrain specifically. But let's go over this real quick. It's exactly 2,000 points on the nose. We have two beast bosses. One is proper with proper killy. Absolutely love proper killy. We have a beast boss on Squighog with Glory Hog. And then Mazrog Scragbag, followed by Zagwa Wartsnaga. The beast boss with the Zog Wartsnaga pressure is immense. That's why this is called Pig Pin Pressure. Then we have double 10-man units of Snaggers, of course, a big 22-man unit for Zod, a small unit of Gretchen, 2 rigs, 1 Mando because you need that infiltrate room, and then 2 big bricks of Squighog boys. One's going in nice and early, and then one sticking with Maz, of course, nice, reliable. Then we have a weird little flex here for the Boomdocker Snazwagon. Now, why is the Boomdocker Snazwagon there? 2 reasons. If you're going into a very preferred melee matchup style and you need the pigs to not be taking all the hits directly on and need to kind of hold that down and give some defensive buffs there, the Boomdocker Snazwagon gives a little bit of 1 wound model clearing support, but all in all, this could very much be substituted for anything else for 70 points. Whether it's a biker unit, you could choose to decide to bring maybe burner boys because you want a little bit of different kind of DACA. Luda is a different kind of DACA, but the clean alternative would be another unit of Gretchen and then maybe sticky objective if you're someone who likes sticky objective. So all in all, Boomdocker Snazwagon is actually the flex piece and versatility of this in this archetype and style. Now, what I will say about this is it gets kind of some getting used to because though it seems like, well, you know, it's pretty straightforward wall tactics. I just put all stuff on the table, pretty dumb. The thing is here is that you are playing to what your keywords are showing you. You're going to probably turn 1 wall. If you're someone who just likes to get stuff on the table, get things kicked off and going, all these rules and gets are getting on your nerves and confusing, you just want to stick choppas and stickers in their face, this is the perfect list for you. The idea is that you're going to want turn 1 with your beast boss on Squigosaur and your Zagwat Warsnaga, especially if you're playing on something on like Search and Destroy. Really depending on the matchup, of course. If they have their own infiltrators and they have plenty of screens, maybe you're not want turn 1 and you're going to position everything else. But the idea is that you do it. When I've lost this with this list, it's because I wasn't really committed to wanting turn 1 or 2 early, like very aggressively. You know, obviously if I go first, I'm more likely to wild turn 1. Sometimes turn 2, I would end up, if I go second, sometimes I end up wanting turn 2 because they've already kind of screened all of my pressure. So then I need to go out there and kill it. I see it kind of stuck in with some of those 10-man units of Snaggas. The big brick goes in on its own and clears the whole screens, and then everybody comes out to play to clear them. Then I call a wall. But nonetheless, it's still very much plug and play for this kind of archetype. Love all the pigs. they are much harder to kill when they actually have their 5-up invul. That is the reason you're going to WAAAGH early and WAAAGH right away. Of course, you have to use like mob tactics with Zagrot Wartsnaga in mind. If there is something there that you don't want heroically intervening into your Squighog boys, if you don't want something to necessarily get out line of sight to the oncoming big wave of kill rigs and snagga boys and the additional squig brick that you have coming up the field, absolutely fine too. Like I said, if you want to drop this Boomdaka Snazwagon for another unit of Grots and sticky objective, I understand that too. Love my Grots, love my Grots. This is a GW style of one for sure. If we're playing layout 2, simply sticking both those big units in the middle behind that terrain piece. Rigs are coming down the field as well. It's all about pressure and overwhelming saturation of units on the field with your commandos as well, getting stuck in on that turn 1 too. So this is, you're playing to hunt. You're going to turn 1 WAAAGH regardless. But then let's move into something that maybe isn't so direct and linear with a turn 1 WAAAGH all the time. And this is the Beast Mob. Now, this is another list that I had been on my own messing with for a while. Not going to find it too much online anywhere else because this is something that I accidentally put an 8 down there for that unit. Obviously, it's a 3 for the squigs, just, you know, typo fat finger. So this list is utilizing a big 20-man snagga unit. I actually really enjoy mobs, as you guys know, and I think the redundancy of having a big brick of squigs, a big brick of Zod, and a big brick of boys, snagga boys specifically, to be all on the field with the wall at the same time, is really just something the enemy can't you know, deal with all at once. You're going to get more value out of your falling back and charging mechanics in this case, controlling the primary, pinning your enemies, overwhelming them with always having a viable target for your strats if you're failing battle shocks, or, you know, because once your pigs get diminished, they're really not that interesting. And all in all, your beast boss on Squigosaur isn't that interesting. So let's go over this list real quick. We have 2 beast bosses, one with proper killy. Then we have the beast boss on Squigosaur with Glory Hog, covered by Mazrog Scragbag. I absolutely love Mazrog in the hunt. His -2 AP is something that he vitally needs. We could do this in another video, but all in all, the Maz and the pigs themselves need a rewrite, in my opinion. But this detachment gives you glimpses of what they could be. Then we have Zagrot Wartsnag, who doesn't have the keyword. Keep that in mind. 20 snaggas, 10 snaggas, and then simply a boys unit. Now, why do boys want tactics? Well, I personally just like having boys. I like that they have sticky. I like putting them to my natural expansion and try to sticky that, especially if I'm playing something like the hunt so early. They'll give me a little access to grenade keywords. They kind of just, maybe if I don't want turn 1, they come in and start fighting people early as well. So I like boys. Boys are all around well-rounded, and they'll take the kill rig buff early if they are getting in like an early skirmish in the middle of the table or on an objective, right? Then we have the battle wagon. You can possibly choose to put a hunter rig. I've tested this as well. The hunter rig is just so freaking gigantic that sometimes you really can't find a nice clean way to place him. And the battle wagon, even if you don't find the cleanest way to place him, he can tank a lot of shots and isn't reliable to be popped because the built-in armor of contempt and his T12. So I did pay the point cost difference here, but there has been times where I tried a hunter rig. Don't be scared, homie. And I really like the Zap gun. Of course, Gretchen, then 2 units of Gretchen, because this list is just having more stuff as well, because I have so many bricks. So I did go make sure I paid for another unit of Gretchen. 1 kill rig, because I do think that snagga unit needs it. When the people have to deal with your big mobs of Zod and Squighog boys and maybe your other squigs that you're going to see here on this list, or the battle wagon, they don't deal for the rig as much sometimes, because they know the 20-man unit guy is more of a priority. If they do end up going for your kill rig, then your battle wagon is pretty safe. Your Squighog boys are kind of safe in that case. And then speaking of Squighog boys, we have 1 big brick followed by, that's actually a 3-man unit. I feel like changing that right now, but yeah, followed by a 3-man unit. So the 3-man unit is something that I would say this is a flex unit based off you guys, because you've heard me in my videos as you guys test this out say, what if I run Mazrog on his own? This unit's only T7. It makes him a little bit easier to kind of get chipped down in a way. He's a bigger profile, but he takes strats so much better, even if only 2 of the 3 pigs are left over from his unit. So in that case, I a lot of the time still end up picking up those guys, putting them in there. They end up being nice if you decide to pick the unit up. Also, that 1 kill rig itself is really good for getting picked up. The kill rig is also good for giving the 20 snaggas a actual buff for +1 strength if you're going into like elite infantry instead. So instead of you having to deal with tanks or some kind of vehicles in that degree, you might be like, well, instead I'm going to give these guys +1 strength because I have to run into all these big infantry. Now let me pull up that. I want to pull up that display again, but I want it to be fresh. So shout out to you guys in the chat. Let me pull this up real quick because I wanted to fix it. I don't like how that was bothering me, how I had the wrong number there. Doop, doop, doop. So thanks for bearing with me. Oops, this is the wrong one. Is this wrong? Oh, didn't fix it anyways because I was too aggressive with that. Oh, well. All right. So like I said, let me move on to my next list because I really like the mobs. I think that this is underappreciated, underutilized. The 20-man unit allows you to kill pretty much anything. It's far more versatile than the 20-man Squighog boy unit. The bigger Squighog, you're not going to get every base model into base to base. A lot of the time, they're going to take damage coming in, and it's going to really diminish them a lot. The 20-man unit, though, just because they get up to strength 6, maybe even strength 7, the critical sustain, the critical 5+ and the additional AP, of course, and the proper killing guy means that this unit is absolutely shredding knights, shredding greater demons, shredding elite infantry bricks, whatever it is. The 20-man unit of Snagga Boys, especially because they can pass through terrain and such, is so much more able to actually make contact with your targets and kill the problematic enemy matchups than like having, in my opinion, that second unit of big brick of Squighog Boys, in my opinion, right? Even though I'm a big fan of Squighog Boys as well. So let's move on to the last and final list from the archetype, which is what I like to call the beast allies. So this is when people decide to bring other units. There's a lot of things that we could substitute in here, as I had a lot of ideas, but I actually wanted this to be more favorable to people who don't like to play with rigs, people who don't want to play with Zogrod. I wanted to incorporate people who want a little bit of shooting. So I intentionally adjusted the list archetype to benefit that, because that's what I do. I test stuff that I know that orc players flavorfully also want to play, not just what they meta want to play, right? That's what we like to talk about here and kind of emphasize. So this was something else that has floated around and I personally liked. I did have to, proxy that last Squighog Snagga Boy unit because I don't have that final unit all painted up and such or built. But let's talk about the beast allies, because this one is probably one that you can unpack the most. You have triple beast bosses, because we're going to go kind of MSU as many kind of Snagga units that we can here. And then proper killing because we love it. Then we have a boss Snickra. That's for a couple reasons. Boss Snickra, I still wanted an infiltrate, even though I don't have glory hogs, but I don't want a commando unit because it's too big and it's not versatile. This is supposed to work in multiple different terrain setups, like I said. So if it's UKTC, WTC, or GW, Snickrat will have a decent spot to infiltrate. And if he doesn't, let's say you're playing against a World Eaters army and they have spawn and chaos spawn, and they're going to infiltrate and they're going to beat up your Snickrat, simply deploy them in your back lines. So then you can kind of bring them out later in the game. So Snickrat has his versatility in that, and he's going to help you score because you do have some meat on this list, because you do have a Gaz. You do have a Gaz because people absolutely love Gaz for an allied target because he makes your Snagga Boys feel really good. If you don't want Gaz and you're looking at this, you're like, I'm already annoyed wall tactics, I don't want Gaz. Absolutely fine. You incorporate more breaker boys, maybe even 10-man units of knobs. You incorporate something that's going to play the mid table, is just the whole point of Gaz, right? I can just secure the middle when it's go time, so the enemy can't disrespect me and shove Tyranid monsters in my face, greater demons in my face, titans in my face, whatever it is, because this the rest of this list does break down as like having small units that kind of want to activate. So you have the obvious 3 10-man units of Snagga Boys, and then I have another 10-man unit of Snagga Boys in case they want to get stuck in later in the game or early in the game, or get picked up from a strategic reserve from the stratagem to actually put them in strategic reserve. They'll also take a early to hunt target if I want. So instead of the Snagga Boy, the beast boss, having to do it constantly and disembarking from the trucks and getting killed, there might be a chance that I just let the 10-man unit get out, pop the advance and charge strat. He has the hunt target, and then he gets in the fight. If it's something easier to diminish, that says 95 boys is supposed to be boys. Sorry, guys, I made a fat typos here. That's supposed to be just a simple 10-man unit boys for points. That's how that fit. So the 10-man unit of boys is because I still wanted some sticky. I still wanted the boys, like I said, for the early fighting if I had to, if I'm not putting the hunt target on them, or they'll just do action secondaries, have a grenade available. Boys felt really good whenever I incorporated just randomly a 10-man unit of boys when I'm playing with this many trucks on a dense terrain board. Then we have a breaker boy unit. The reason why I have another breaker boy unit is because I still felt like I needed some of that big hitting power from damage 3, a little bit more dev wounds. There is argument that maybe you want a war boss incorporated in this to make them actually more reliable since they get no detachment strats and they're waiting for the wall. But the way I see it here is that you're going to have multiple targets that kind of have the potential to be interrupted on, and someone's going to have to take priority, and you can't fight on death. So if you're not, Gaz sometimes isn't willing to get hit first. The 10-man unit of Snagas, at least you're willing of 9 of those guys to get diminished and just leave one dude alive and the beast boss, and they can still do some work. But the breaker boy, if they get interrupted on, can't fight on death, it's not the same as war horde. So I wasn't willing to incorporate the war boss for that point cost, but I understand the argument for it. 2 minimum size units of Gretchen, because I'm really trying to screen my backfield, or I have one for secondaries alongside those boys. I liked having all those models. It felt good to just have more stuff because, like I said, I already have Gaz, and then I already have Breaker Boys, and then as you can see, I have 2 units of Tank Busters because I wanted some DACA for that kind of DACA respect. Now, I only have 3 Mega Knobs. If you end up taking more, you just get really big profile, in my opinion. But there's an argument to have 4 because getting yourself up the field will take a long time. Yet the whole point of the wall in this detachment and with this list is once the enemy comes to play the mid-table, that's when Gaz comes out to play, because the rest of these units can pretty much kill what they'd like to kill between the hunt target, their critical 5+, and the beast bosses. They're going to kill a lot of the things that they already want to kill. Their additional 2 having 2 AP and then sustained 5+ means that they're going to beat up even elite infantry in that case. Or you have the breaker boys to go onto them for that. So you're waiting for the wall for Gaz, so I didn't pay for the extra meat behind him, but I still like 3 because he takes more commitment to kill just from having that 3rd Mega Knob, and you just want to make sure his punch is respectable. And the 3rd Mega Knob helps a little bit with that. The 2 Tank Busters, like I said, is because I want some DACA respect if I'm going to play this little bit more drawn out version of the hunt, where I'm not glory hogging, I'm not using Zod, but I still want to appreciate my version of Oath. So the Tank Busters, I'd like to bring them out during the wall because I want them to 5-up invuln so that you have to chew through them too, alongside all of these T5 boys that you're seeing on the screen. So that feels pretty nice. But there is a case that once in a while you're going to use them to activate into enemy vehicles. Enemies are going to take response to you, and then that's when you bring out your army and flood the table between your trucks and your Gaz and everything else. So I do like to show this one in general because this list was a little bit of archetypes, a little bit of allies incorporated to the archetypes, not simply sticking to I'm going to put Glory Hog in your face and Zod and everything like that. So nonetheless, one more thing I wanted to mention that I was too excited about with the Beast Mob is I really appreciate Beast Mob because it makes the defensive strat of you actually having stealth and cover a little bit more viable. You having a 6-up feel no pain, a little bit more viable. Falling back and charging, more viable. So this list is one that I think is a little bit slept on. I would say pin pressure is the most relatable for a lot of people who are trying to play this detachment. So that's what this list is really identifying with or is planned to. And then the allies is because I know people like the flexibility of bringing guns, bringing more damage potential, more breaker boys, more tank busters, flash gets, whatever it may be to your degree. I understand it. I also want to put the twist in on here of I want this to be available to people who play on less dense tables. So that is it for the actual hunt archetype. So let me look at the super chats real quick from Mr. Andrew Stone. Whoa, headbutt for the win. Whoa, absolutely. You're getting that mortal wounds in on the charge, boy. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Very humbling, very generous of you. And because it gets like you is how we're doing our after action report. So keep in mind that should be releasing tomorrow and it should be live. So tune in for that. Thank you very much to everybody, and you, Andrew Stone. We love you. Means a lot. And to anybody who's here right now for the live, sorry about that mishap earlier. I was a little too excited to get stuck in like every proper orc lad. But there's always one thing to keep in mind is don't cross that wall because we'll knock your teeth out.